It was just another night for Jessica, driving home from work. She'd taken the usual route. Quiet, deserted roads, and the hum of the car engine was the only sound filling the air. She felt safe, as she always did, even at this hour. But little did she know, she wasn't alone. As she drove, she noticed something odd in the rearview mirror. The shadows in the back seat seemed to shift. For a moment, she thought it was just her mind playing tricks. Maybe it was the streetlights reflecting oddly. But then, the sensation of being watched crept up her spine.
I thought maybe I was just exhausted. I mean, it had been a long day, and I was just trying to get home. But I kept feeling like there was someone back there.
She glanced in her rear-view mirror again, her eyes widening in horror, as she saw a figure, barely visible, slumped down in the back seat. The figure wasn't moving, just sitting there, too still. It was as though it had been there all along, waiting for her to notice. Heart pounding, Jessica immediately pulled over to the side of the road, her hands shaking as she fumbled with the door handle. She jumped out of the car, terrified and breathless. Her mind raced. Who could be in her back seat? Was it a prank? A robber? She quickly dialed 911.
911, what's your emergency?
The operator asked, her voice calm and steady.
I think someone's in my car. I saw them in the back seat, but when I stopped, they're gone. What should I do?
The 911 operator instructed Jessica to stay in a safe spot, locked away from the car, until police arrived. But as she glanced back at the vehicle, she noticed something chilling. The car doors were still locked, and there was no sign of forced entry. Whoever had been in the back seat hadn't left any trace. The police arrived minutes later, and after a thorough search of the car, they found no intruder, no fingerprints, nothing out of place. But when the officer opened the trunk, his face went pale.
We found a man hiding in the trunk, tied up and unconscious. He was badly beaten, and it was clear he'd been there for hours.
The strangest thing, though, was how he got in there. No signs of a struggle or forced entry. The man in the trunk had been abducted days earlier. He was a victim of a violent robbery and had somehow managed to escape his captors. After the ordeal, he climbed into the back seat of Jessica's car, either unaware of her presence or too weak to make any noise. His would-be kidnappers had followed her, thinking she was the one who took their victim. Jessica was lucky that night. The terror of the back seat was more than just paranoia. It was a warning. The police never found the kidnappers, but one thing was certain. Jessica's life had been forever changed by a simple drive home.